Good day, gentlemen of press. In the civil space of Abia State, Nigeria, Southeast entirely. And it is a fact that state actors are clamping down on human rights, even when all of us are operators of the Constitution of 1999, which we believe remains the supreme charter from which every player in the Nigerian project derives their powers. Here we are members of this coalition. I start by introducing myself, and then I will give the mic. I'll pass the mic to them, and then the next you will hear will be the press conference, for which reason we are here. And I believe after that, we will take your questions and then react accordingly.
And emancipatory leadership in Nigeria, I did Nigeria to be precise. I'm a member of Action Group on Free Civic Space, Southeast Nigeria.
I am the team leader, Action Group of Free Civil Space for the Southeast. Thank you so much. Over 36 civil society organizations working across civil space, strengthening governance and addressing repressive and suppression action of the state actors. So we are here today to address a disturbing situation concerning one of our colleagues in Ebonyi State, to address the press, so that we can address this issue of brutality, the issue of suppression of civil space, and the continual incarceration of Comrade Emmanuel Acha. I will read the text of the statement thus. I follow comrades and colleagues in the struggle. We are the representatives of a civil society organization under the banner of Action Group of Free Civil Space, AGFCS, and our allies networks across Nigeria and Southeast. We have convened this media briefing to express for our growing concern over the ongoing clampdown on civil spaces and human rights in Ebonyi State, Southeast Nigeria, particularly the unjust arrest, inhuman treatment, and political motivated prosecution of Comrade Emmanuel Acha, a human rights defender, a chairperson of the Enugu State Civil Society Network. The case not only reflects a dangerous, aggressive in democratic value, but also demonstrates the length in which states and non-state actors go to silence full, lawful, dissenting views. It is a chilling message to all human rights defenders and civil society leaders across the country. Background: Comrade Emmanuel Acha was arrested at Enugu around 5 a.m. in March 2025 and was transferred to Abakaliki prisons in Ebonyi State. According to the family and close associates, the arrest was orchestrated in retaliation for a civil suit he filed in December 2024. Suit number FNC/AI/CS/AFR/221/24, challenging the government action in relation to the protracted Effium-Ezza land dispute in Ohaukwu Local Government Area of Ebonyi State. This land conflict, which escalated into communal violence in 2021, has drawn multiple states interventions, including the 2023 ceasefire agreement, the 2024 Bishop Michael and Okoro Peace Committee, and the 2025 Amnesty and the Desegregation Program. While we commend those measures by the government of Ebonyi State, we strongly condemn the use of state power and the police machinery to push and further punish dissenting voices under the guise of conflict resolution. Rather than engage Emmanuel Acha legal concerns through transparent and lawful demand, the state government of Ebonyi State has chosen coercion over that law, detaining him without bail and bringing him before the court on trumped-up charges in the charge number HKW/270/2025, which include allegation of arms acquisition and a murder. Presently now, he's been tried before a judge, reportedly from the civil and rival community involved in the conflict, a development that raises serious questions about judicial impartiality, human rights abuses. Upon his arrest, Emmanuel Acha was subjected to physical assault and psychological torment, alleging at the hands of the police officers, one of them whom is of Ezza ethnic extraction. No intimidating evidence was found on him in his house, or his arrest was not based on any judicial warrant. Those actions contravene section 34, 35, and 39 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, which guarantees the rights to dignity, personal liberty, and freedom of expression. He has now spent over 3 months in detention without adequate medical care and a violation of due process. This is a clear case of political persecution disguised as criminal prosecution, legal and constitutional contest. In a democratic society, citizens must be free to question government policies, challenge injustice, and seek redress through the court. Section 39A of the 1999 Constitution as amended affirms the right to freedom of expression and opinion. Section 6B of the 1999 Constitution further guarantees the judicial powers of the court in protecting civil rights and obligations. Those constitutional guarantees are now under threat in Ebonyi State. Then our concern as a member of the Action Group and Free Civil Space, 1, we hereby call on His Excellency Governor Francis of Ebonyi State and relevant authorities to immediately, 1, order the immediate and the unconditional release of Comrade Emmanuel Acha and others detained for inserting their rights regarding the Effium-Ezza conflict. 2, ensure accountability for all public officials and police personnel who have abused their powers and violated the rights of Emmanuel Acha. 3, withdraw all politically motivated charges and ensure that any proceedings follow due processes and impartiality. 4, ensure he receives medical attention and is granted access to legal counsel and family and is protected from further abuse in the correctional center. Invite independent mediators, civil society organizations, international observers to monitor the implementation of the Ebonyi State white paper report on Effium-Ezza conflict as a part of the inclusive and just peace process. Then respect the constitutional right of all Nigerians, especially for the one for Emmanuel Acha, to seek legal redress and participate in civic participation and life without fear of a reprisal. Next step, we had previously submitted a formal petition to the governor of Ebonyi State dated 7 July 2025, demanding those actions. A copy of that petition has been made available today for your review. We regret to inform that as of today, there has not been a response or action from the government of Ebonyi State. We have also petitioned the National Human Rights Commission and urging them to launch an independent investigation, ensure medical access and legal aid to Emmanuel Acha, and intervene against the growing trend of police abuse for political ends. Conclusion: the case of Comrade Emmanuel Acha is a neutral space for Nigerian democracy and a commitment to Nigerian human rights. We cannot afford to normalize the criminalization of civic actors or persist or permit impunity to continue to flourish in a democratic process. This is not just about one man, it is about the future of the civil space and the position of the civil actors in Nigeria and the Southeast at general. We therefore ask the support of the media, the public, and the international community to amplify this call and the demand for justice. Hence this press conference. We stand in unending solidarity with Comrade Emmanuel Acha and all others who has been suffered and suppressed, and is a repressive action by the state for simply seeking for justice. Thank you so much. On behalf of the Action Group on Free Civil Space on Southeast, we appreciate you for being here for this press conference, and we believe that with this conference, the government of Ebonyi State will respond to the voice of the Action Group.
My name is Chukwudu Chibu. I'm the program in Better Community Initiative Igbo State.
A member of the Action Group.
A member of the Action Group. In this call, we are in solidarity for immediate and unconditional. Truth is immediate and unconditional. And in addition, to compensate Comrade Emmanuel Acha because his arrest is unjust, is illegal, and is unconstitutional. I will make bold to say this afternoon, leaders who are elected democratically must possess the capacity and appetite to govern democratically. Otherwise, you should not be a leader. First, citizens exercise their freedom to elect you. Now you march, as a governor or as a president. Why can't you govern democratically so that the citizens will continue to exercise their freedom, guaranteed by the Constitution and allowed in democracy? And we also say this, the exercise of fundamental rights, it is not the order of the governor. It is not the order of the president, but the order of our Constitution. It's not negotiable. So, Comrade Emmanuel Acha must unconditionally and immediately be released to continue to exercise his freedom, guaranteed by the Constitution, and the government must pay him compensation. So that is our stance, and we shall continue to oppose this, and we shall continue to maintain it.
Pastor Mokocha Anoze Innocent, the Executive Director, Initiative for ID Development and Emancipatory Leadership in Nigeria, ID Nigeria to be precise, and a member of the Action Group. Now, the demand is very simple. First of all, it is also key to note that government exists because the people have actually given them the mandate to actually stand on their behalf. And standing on their behalf means that the issue of suppression, issue of unjust arrest, issue of illegality when it comes to citizens' affairs must be relegated to the background. And that is what democracy is all about. We are not in a military era where anybody can just wake up and decide to do whatever he feels like. The power the governor of Ebonyi State has is given by the people, and by extension, Emmanuel Acha, who is also a citizen of that state. And to also be precise, too, it is also key to note that the governor is not doing things on his own accord. He should also look at what the Constitution has actually stipulated. Recourse to action, recourse to government, and on that premise, we are urging the governor of Ebonyi State, Mr. Francis Ifru, to immediately, following the due course of law, release Acha Emmanuel and follow the path of justice. And another thing is this is also a challenge as far as our judicial process is concerned, because the world is watching. It will also interest you to know that relevant, organizations, international organizations have been petitioned, have a copy of what we have or what we are releasing to the press today. So it will also be very key that as he leaves office, he's living on a very clean slate, because it will not be nice that he'll be represented with something that does not connote, rightful act of justice. So in this case, we are looking at recourse to Section 39 of the 1999 Constitution, which guarantees freedom of expression. Freedom of expression is an inalienable right of every citizen. So for Acha to express his opinion with regards to how his people have been treated, I don't think that is a wrong thing to do. That is what we, the advocates, as far as the Southeast states are concerned, represents. And in this case, the case of Acha is not a different, cause. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is our collective resolve from the action group to state this categorically to Ebonyi State Government to release Acha forthwith, immediately, to continue on the true course of justice. Ladies and gentlemen, we rest our case at this point.
We are aware that when a matter has a tendency in court, when a matter has tendency in court, it is referred or it is regarded as sub-judice, which means in most cases you don't even act. Acha did not adopt or follow any unconstitutional channel. He actually approached the courts. And I think that's the platform, the avenue to ventilate all grievances or all emotions. But it's unfortunate that the operators of the Constitution, 1999 Constitution as amended, will also go against the same Constitution they swore by virtue of their oath of office to defend and uphold. And this is very wrong. We are talking about this because we also look at the future trends or precedents this may actually create or establish. We live in a time when the operators of the Constitution or those who have been elected into political offices or elective positions do no longer see need or use for the Constitution. And it's very, very wrong. And we are aware that there are various channels to tackle the issue of boundary disputes. When it is about state to state or interstate, you talk about the National Boundary Commission. But when it is happening within a state, it is the State Boundary Committee. I don't see where state actors like the police or the rest should actually preempt. And in this case now, what is actually having a tendency in the courts? We call on the government of Ebonyi State as a matter of urgency and right to release forthwith Comrade Emmanuel Acha. Let everything be done following the legal channel. That's why we have the courts. And this rascally tendency must not continue. It's about precedents we are creating. And this call is urgent, and I believe is what must be strictly adhered to. Let all the actors and players follow the process, which is the court.
We say we demand immediate release of Emmanuel Acha. He was arrested in March and he has spent barely 4 months in the correctional center facing trouble of charges by the state government. So we need immediate release of Emmanuel Acha. And if the government of Ebonyi State fail to heed to our call, we will push further for a mass action to ensure that we activate all of our structures, both local and international, to ensure that we put a lot of pressure on the government to release Emmanuel Acha. So our demand is immediate release because he has spent roughly 4 months already in the correctional center, being incarcerated by the state government for exercising his civil and political rights. Thank you.
My post stand. 3. The government, the people, and the civil society standing in the middle to serve as a referee. And that civil society, I mean in this case by extension, the media. That is what an ideal society is and should represent. Anything outside of that is not worth it. So Emmanuel Acha is standing on that, tripod, and in the middle, serving as a referee between the people and the government. Despite the fact that he's coming from that area, he said that this is not a no, it's a no-no. And that is why we are standing to say he should be released immediately. Today, tomorrow. It's as simple as ABCD. He cannot continue to wallow in abject, circumstance that is completely out of order and unconstitutional.
Detention facility is a clear breach of the Constitution. The governor took oaths to defend, uphold, and preserve the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So why is a citizen of Nigeria stay in detention 4 months gone? Sovereignty belongs to the people. And from whole government, through the Constitution, they rise in powers and authorities. Meaning that without the people, there will be no government. Without the Constitution, there will be no functionality. Our word, immediate, is essential and non-negotiable.
I follow the point. And we know that there are avenues, channels that are being exploited to address this issue. If it's about boundary disputes, intrastate, you have the state committee. If it's about maybe interstate, you have national boundary commission. So I don't know why someone would be detained that long. And then up until this material time, justice is not just dispensed or said. So we are saying release him unconditionally. Then continue the process of what your legal redress or option. Thank you.
Once you Enugu and arrested him, does it happen anywhere?
That jurisdiction.
As at that time, he was in Enugu. A man came from Ebonyi State. But at the matter that he was in Enugu, the police command in Ebonyi State, in another state, went to Enugu and arrested him. Kept him in detention for days, even for weeks, before the matter was eventually taken to court. That is why we are convinced it's state government.
When the human rights activists that advocate for rights of others are being incarcerated, it becomes a challenge for him to advocate for people like you who will have issues by tomorrow to address. If you know what we have been doing on this space, we've been trying to run the civil space, engage the government. So if peradventure is somebody else that was arrested, we raise a concern. For example, in Onitsha, the former chairman of the Onitsha Chamber of Commerce, he was beaten up to death by this Aswa agent. We raised a serious concern, and then that made the governor of Anambra State to set up an investigation and to prosecute those people involved. So we are here for the defense of the defenseless and for people who have no right. So we are calling for Emmanuel Acha because of the Emmanuel Acha incarceration has delayed a lot of people who are also incarcerated, who is supposed to come out and advocate for their rights. So if peradventure by tomorrow you become a victim, we as a civil actors we are going to also come out and stand behind you in solidarity, calling for your release. Because this is a communal conflict, and it's not only Acha. Some of the community people are also being arrested and also being incarcerated. So we are calling for the release of Emmanuel Acha and all the relevant parties and individuals in this struggle who have been unjustly arrested and incarcerated by the state government. We are calling for their unconditional and immediate release. Not only Emmanuel Acha and other members of the Effium community who are together in this struggle. Thank you.